Coming up on this episode of the Spiro Podcast.
Means we're actually making more money doing less shoots, which I think is almost kind of the golden combination for business. Let's do less of something, sell it for more to make more money.
Welcome to the Spiro Podcast, managing your real estate photography and videography business. With your hosts, Todd Kivimaki and Craig Magrum.
Hi, and welcome to the Spiro Podcast, managing your real estate photography and videography company. Spiro, it's a software platform. It's designed to help you manage your day-to-day real estate media business, and ultimately, we'd love to help you grow and scale as well. Welcome back to another week. I'm Craig Magrum, host of the podcast, and just enjoy this time each and every week where we get to talk shop, kind of, relax a little bit, talk about how business grows, and maybe give you some examples of how we've grown and mistakes we've made over the years, and how you can learn from our mistakes so you don't have to make them. As Todd says, Todd Kivimaki, our owner and founder and co-host of the podcast. Welcome back, Todd.
Craig, it's great to be here. This is year 22 for Wow Video Tours, our real estate media company. So excited about that. I've been doing a lot of reflecting, y'all, lately about just business and the years, and I get a lot of questions. I love the questions from you guys. I do a lot of coaching to you all, and there was some industry news this week that happened. And we have some actionable items to help you grow your business in 2025 and beyond. We've got it all packed into this podcast for you today.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot. But before we do that, we always like to dive into, what's going on in the industry, any news, conferences, announcements that you have, Todd, this week?
Yeah, just a few of them here. So a reminder, the conferences and the industry are in November out in Las Vegas. There's two of them. They're fabulous. There is the Rep Conference. That is November 7th and 8th. So I get the pleasure of emceeing and hosting that conference this year, which is going to be great. That's the Eli Jones Conference. So the Rep team, just a fabulous event. That is, again, November 7th and 8th. There's an MVP day on the 6th. It has a minimum monthly revenue requirement, and I think it might be sold out. So they sold out immediately. They found a bigger venue, and it's either sold out or close to. So make sure if you want to do that, please visit replaunch.com/rep2025. We'll link it below. If you're typing it, rep has two P's. Also, PMRE is November 18th through 20th. We will be at that conference as well. So we will have a booth. The Spiro team will be there, excited to meet you. That is PMREconference.com. So please, I think it's great. Pick one of them. I would love to see you at them. And we will be at both of them, like I said. But I think this is a good time to think about how you're going to build your business, how you're going to recharge. And I know it can seem overwhelming right now. They're like, I'm super busy, Todd. Like, I can't even think about what I'm going to do in November. But to be frank, that's how you grow a bigger business, is that you think ahead. You think ahead of today. You think ahead of 6 months from now even. So conferences.
They're beneficial. I'll just throw in there the conversations you get to have with other people in this space, and just the sharing of stories, and sharing things that have worked for you and things that haven't worked. It's just a good time to kind of relax and share ideas and build some friendships in the industry as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know specifically at the Rep Conference, they've adjusted the schedule a bit they have breakout sessions. And you're going to go sit with other business owners in your same, in your same size of business. So same stage of business, excuse me. And I think that's so relevant because it's always, when I speak on stage, I'm always like, hey guys, like, I don't want you to feel pressure. I say it here on the podcast. Like, don't feel pressure to do millions of dollars a year in real estate media if you're just starting out. You're going to be like, I can't do it. Right. You can do it. It took me 22 years to do. But when you can sit at a table with someone that's like, oh, yes, a VA. Oh, my first photographer. Oh, yes, my 15th photographer. That's when you really relate and you go, oh, I can do this. And then the cool thing about it too, Craig, is you're sometimes teaching at that table, which is
Right.
fabulous. Because when you can teach it, it means you've mastered it, which means that, and when you can give back and help others, I don't think there's anything better than that.
Yeah, it's a good feeling.
It sure is. It sure is. So we also like to talk about potential Spiro updates here. There is a September launch plan for Spiro. We're going to integrate Titus, which we've talked about on the Spiro Tech Call. If you want to find out more, go back to the Spiro Super User Facebook group. It's basically a great financing option. It's pay at close for real estate agents. And along with that, we're going to optimize the property website editor. So this is going to give you an app-like experience. It's not going to be an app. That's not what I'm saying. But we're going to optimize it as if it were an app. We know you guys are out there in the field. Many of you trying to expedite and QC photos from your phone the next day. And we've looked at all of how you use it. We've reconfigured that. It's going to be just a really streamlined experience.
Very cool.
Oh, also, Craig, I meant to mention, and I kind of hesitate because this isn't in stone yet.
Okay.
But you know how I do this. I say things and then I'm kind of like, oh, did I say that? Like, are we going to do that? But we hinted at the idea of a gathering for Spiro users, non-Spiro users, but us Spiro doing a gathering. And we called it the Spiro Summit before. I think we made it up on air, Craig. I think we really did.
We were spitballing live.
we were. And enough of you emailed me or said something about it. I was like, well, wait a minute. Like, there might be something here. Like, the industry might need this. So Shannon and I got in a room today face to face, which is always dangerous. And this idea, sorry, Craig, you... For those of you listening, yeah.
Right. Yeah. I was just mid-sip of my morning drink, and it almost came up through my nose. Sorry.
I'm going to get you one time, Craig. That's my goal. Out your nose one time.
I have too much expensive equipment sitting in front of me. Don't do that. Too many electronics.
Anyway. Oh my goodness. If you didn't watch on YouTube, go back and watch it. It's great. So we sat in a room, Shannon and I were like, this idea, and we started brainstorming. And Shannon has built a ton of events for real estate agents. And we just got going and we're like, oh my goodness, like this. So what we're thinking, y'all, and we want your feedback. It's the reason why I'm telling you this. We came up with the name of Spiro Sync. Okay. And what this is a little bit different. It's not like the conferences where you are going to go and learn in November. But the idea of this is, or the tagline is breathe, build, and belong. And this is not just for you. This is bring your leadership team, bring your admin, bring a photographer. It might just be you and a photographer, but you're like, I need some sort of event. I need some sort of team building. We're going to have our team from WOW there. We're going to talk not just to owners, but we're going to talk about operations, VA teams. We're going to virtually do some time online, VA teams to VA teams. Like, let's connect. I know the community needs this connection. And that's why we just think this idea of belonging is so important. We know that it can feel like you're out on an island. Craig and I both did it, right? Craig, how many times were you in your own business? You're like, oh, you get in your own head and you're like, this thing's never going to work. Like, I might as well just go back and work at McDonald's. Nothing wrong with working at McDonald's, but it's like you get it in your own head. And when you have belonging and when you can connect with others, and then when you can get your team to do that, I think it can just be fire. So let me know, is this worth doing? Like, it will be in the cornfields of Ohio. We won't do it in Lima because there's no major airport here. So we're thinking Dayton, Ohio, 2026, third week of January. Shoot me a message. Let me know. Would you come to it? Do you see value in it? What would you want to accomplish from it?
Sounds good to me. You know,
Spiro Sync.
That idea of being an island and out on your own, even as a photographer out in the field, you can slip into that feeling of loneliness and that you're the only one dealing with the issues that you are, and you get stuck in this overthinking cycle, and it can get bad. But when you can plug back into community and realize, oh, wait a minute, I'm not alone. I'm actually facing these same things, and work through it together, and bounce ideas off each other. That's a good thing. I like that idea. So yeah, drop us a line, hello@spiro.media. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. Just one thing to close with that, and then we'll get to the topic. But I saw that my businesses grew exponentially when I started asking more questions. And I think the idea of that community, the relationships, the vulnerability of asking questions can just take you to the next level.
Yeah, for sure. All righty. Well, let's dive into this.
Let's,
A
Craig.
little bit of a provocative title for this podcast, and we've talked about it before. That it's not about the camera. We get stuck on pixel peeping, as you say, Todd, and equipment and gear. And I mean, as creatives, yeah, we love gear. We love that creative outlet, right? But we want to dive into some things that we believe will really benefit your business to help you get beyond just the gear and the creativity part and looking at your business. That's what this podcast is all about. So, Todd, we're officially over halfway through the year. It's the end of July here when this episode gets published, and looking at the data of our real estate media company, Wow Video Tours, it's been a really good year, and we don't say that to brag, but it's pretty staggering.
It is. We are up nearly 20% in 2025 at our media company. And that's 20% over our best year ever, 2024. So when you have growth like that, I looked at that because many of you asked me that question. How do I grow? I talked to one of you this week. You're like, I just quit my job August 1st. I'm full-time, I'm all in. It's like, how do I grow? It's like, well, okay, well, let's break this down. It's a lot more simple than what you think. And so I did that throughout the course of what we did over the last few years at Wow.
Right. And what's really kind of amazing about it is it's not necessarily, it is a growth in terms of the number of shoots we've done, but the how of those numbers is really in that average order price and that going up.
Yeah. And that's so key because when we looked at our numbers, like Craig mentioned, not only is it going to be our best year ever, but it'll be our best year in revenue and also number of shoots. But the thing about it is our revenue is outpacing the number of shoots, which means our average order value went up, which means we're actually making more money doing less shoots, which I think is almost kind of the golden combination for business. Let's do less of something, sell it for more to make more money. Because we all know the kinks and the bottlenecks, say we just cut prices in half. Well, number of shoots would skyrocket, right? But we're going to hit. Yeah, it's a race to the bottom. Go back 2 months ago, we did that podcast. But what's going to happen is we're going to have a kink with the number of photographers. And all of us, we all have a kink right now in the summer. We're all looking, we monitor lead time very closely. And we know if agents can't get in 3-4 days, they're going to go find someone else. So to not put yourself in that predicament is fabulous. Less shoots, more money. We're going to break down how we did it.
Todd, before we dive into it, if you could, this is going to be really kind of hard. Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot. But if you could boil down to one word on the growth that we've experienced this year, what would it be?
It's a good one, Craig. I think one word, it just has to be focus. The focus that we had to grow is what has given us this growth.
Okay. So with that necessity of focus, okay, yes, we're having an amazing year, but it hasn't always been that good. So let's go back to 2023, right? What did things look like back then?
Yeah, 2023 was tough. And I've shared this before, so I won't tell the whole story. But end of 2022, we lost a major account, $250,000 in one day, gone, boom. The market was down. That was another $250,000. So that's $500,000. We didn't know it at the time. We were just hoping that we were only going to be down $250,000 just from the account. And the market was bad. It was super fast. Like houses were selling instantly with 50 offers. A lot of new agents. Yeah, no inspections, all cash.
It's
yeah.
Crazy.
It was crazy. And the business just didn't come in. And so what we had to do, honestly, for me, Craig, like it was an oh crap moment. Like, I'm not talking like, oh, this year I'm not going to make as much. Literally, yo, I'm like, I might have to sell my house. Like my wife and I talked about that. I had never talked about that before. Like that gets you to focus like none other when you're like, hey babe, we might have to sell the house. Like we raised our kids are like this house, like that's a big thing.
Right. So what did that focus lead to then in the middle of that really hard situation?
Yeah. So like we just had to get rid of the shiny objects. My back up against the wall forced me to say no to everything except one thing that we'll talk about. But it forced me to focus, Craig, because I was like, I have to keep the ship afloat. To be quite honest, Craig, that was year 20 or 21. That was year 20.
Okay.
And it was 20 years of growth. Every year was better than the previous. And I think after 20 years of that, I got a little lax. And I lost focus a bit. I started Spiro in the meantime. I was splitting focus, and it just took some more attention to get back into it. So what we did, we looked at everything we were doing. We cut everything we were doing. I cut it from a personal level too. And I tell you the personal story because it connects to the business, but you might need to do it too. So when we did basketball tournaments, we decided we could still do basketball tournaments. We packed our food to eat in the hotel. We didn't eat out.
Yeah.
Because it's expensive to eat out. I didn't know if I was going to have that $100. We packed food. We booked hotels that had a microwave. Like we did all the little things because I was in just save mode.
Right.
And so I got to know my numbers really good, Craig. And that's one thing that if you're going like, hey, I think everything's good or I think everything's bad, you better find out real quick really where you're at. What do your numbers tell you?
So when you're in that situation, you're looking, okay, we have to cut, you said the shiny objects. You can't cut everything. Obviously, you have some business functions that have to stay to keep the doors open. So what were the things or maybe the one thing that you didn't cut that somebody on the outside looking in might say, well, you need to cut this too. Was there anything specific?
Yeah, I mean, one of our biggest expenses, and it's something we did not touch, was sales and marketing. Because our core values remain the same, Craig. Our fifth core value is think growth. We want to grow. And so we knew that if we remove the engine of growth, it was going to lead to even a worse 2024. And that honestly, like if you turn the podcast off after this, this is the message. Like that idea of focusing on growth led to our best growth ever. And Craig, when I say it, it sounds stupidly simple, right? Right? Like when you focus on growth, you're going to lead to growth. Nobody quote me on that because it's a dumb quote, but it's true.
Yeah. It's really easy to be tempted. I'm so glad you said this because this is what I ran into all the time. Before I was in the real estate media industry, I spent probably about 20 years working in radio, broadcast radio.
Yes. Yep.
And my focus, I was on air, yes, but I also managed a station and did sales and marketing. And every time I would talk with a business owner about advertising on air, if they were in a position like a financially challenging position, the thing that I always consistently heard, and I learned this in college as well, most of the time, the first thing people cut in their business is their advertising, right? Because the budget's getting constricted, and advertising doesn't necessarily have a concrete, immediate number. Like an ROI, you can't always necessarily get that ROI number right away, and so it's kind of an intangible. And they're like, "Oh, I got to cut that." But what happens is when you cut your advertising and your marketing, you're not in front of everybody that you're trying to reach, and so then your sales take another hit and another dip, and now your budget's even tighter because you're making even less. And it's a vicious cycle, downward cycle that is almost impossible to get out of. And I talked to quite a few business owners. Some you could see the light bulb go on. Some still didn't get it, and they're like, no, but that's a vicious cycle to cut your advertising.
It is. It is. I love analogies, Craig. So I'll do an analogy here real quick. It reminds me of playing Monopoly with my son, Grant. So he's middle child. He has a humongous brain, and I know he's my child, so I say that. But like the way he thinks is incredible. I cannot beat the kid at Monopoly. I'm not kidding you. I can have the most luck, but I can't beat him at Monopoly. Really? And it's almost, yeah, I can't. Like every once in a while, and I talk trash when I beat him, like maybe 1 out of 10. I shouldn't admit I talk trash to my son when I beat him in Monopoly, but that's how bad he beats me. I like to win.
Kind of funny though.
Yeah. But it's like this idea of if you have houses or hotels built on a property, and say I have one property left, I've got like, the yellow, whichever that is, and I land on one of his properties, I have to pay him out. If I mortgage my hotels, if I sell them back and mortgage my property, I have essentially cut off any money I'm going to make. He goes from landing on Marvin Garvin's and paying me $1,800 to paying me $22. That's what we didn't do at WOW. You can't sell the hotels, y'all. The hotel was my sales and marketing department. And yes, I have a department, but for you, it's going to be sales and marketing efforts. And I'm going to give you what to do in August or whatever month you're listening to this in. You cannot cut off your sales engine if you want to grow. Good or bad, you just can't do it.
That's a key insight, that business engine that you can't let go of. But okay, so here's where the provocative title of this episode comes in. When we look online, it seems like, and we're going to step on toes. Sorry, we're just going to do it. It seems like so much of the conversation that we see online in the real estate groups is talk about the cameras and the picture quality, and like we said earlier, what you call the pixel peeping. The focus, pun intended. It is intended. Own your puns, you cowards. Don't ever say pun unintended. Own it. Anyway, I want that t-shirt, Todd. I asked my mother-in-law to use her Cricut. I'm still waiting on that t-shirt, but own your puns, you cowards. Anyway, the focus needs to be on the engine, not necessarily on the gear. Yes, no.
Craig, I'm sorry. This is this is a bit of a rant on my part, but I see many of you ask really great questions, and you're doing this correctly. But and so this isn't directed at you, but holy cow, like I get a good amount of what's going on in the real estate media industry. Either I see what's going on social, YouTube. You guys ask me questions. Craig, if I see one more comparison on AI editing, like it's like I there was one, it's like these are hour-long comparison videos that have a lot of views on them. Like zooming into a photo to look at pixels of two different AI photo editing companies. Craig, I forgot you could even zoom in and see a pixel. Like seriously, y'all. Like, and the thing about it is, and this is why business, and I say this from a place of love in my heart. I think you guys really know me. Like, if this is the first time you're listening to me, I'm really not a mean person. I do this because I want your business to succeed. Let me tell you a little secret. While you all are looking at pixels and trying out 42 different photo editors or AI editors, you know what we're doing at WOW? We are building relationships with all the people that you should be building relationships with. That's how we grew 20% over our best year. Just plain and simple. It all comes down to focus. Do you need a better camera? No, you don't. We shoot video on iPhones. And you know what we do? We shoot 8,000 videos a year. 8,000 videos a year. We shoot them on iPhones.
My camera, I'm still using the Sony A6400. I'm not in the 7000 series. No one's saying anything, and
no
we're
one's
picking up
saying
more
anything.
clients.
Yeah, I had someone ask like, "Oh, should I go to iPhone? Do your client say anything about it?" Like, no client ever says anything about it. Like, oh, and by the way, we shot 8,000 videos. No client ever goes, "Hey," because they trust us, because we take care of them, because we have a relationship with them, because we've serviced them for 20 years or even 1 year. We look at the stats of when they come back, how often they come back. We call them, we nurture them, we care about them. That's why they don't care that you shoot on an iPhone. That's why they don't care that you shoot on an A6400. I know I got an A7S3, or they're probably up to A7R14. I don't even know because I don't care, because it's not going to get me to the next level. It's not your picture quality. It's not your editing quality. It's the fact that you got to build your sales engine.
To put it in perspective, there is some focus on continuing to provide better quality, right? I mean,
so yeah, Craig, I guess to be fair, so we haven't looked at new equipment.
No, equipment ages. We haven't. Yeah,
I mean, the equipment works. So what we focus on though, Craig, is aligned with our core values. We focus on how we better equip and educate the photographers. So we do spend time with feedback. And when we look at photos, we say in our QC process, and many of you have a QC process too, but in our QC process, we say, did auto HDR do its job? Okay. And before there was auto HDR, there were human editors. It's did editing do their job? And editing's not ever going to do their job 100%. It wasn't when we had human editors. It's actually better with auto HDR. And if it did its job, great. If it didn't, fix the small little thing that needs fixed. And then did the photographer do their job? That feedback goes to Brittany at WOW. And she then compiles that feedback, digs in a little bit more, gives her eye into it, and then helps the photographer understand why you need to take the third wall in a small bathroom, why you can't cut off, and if you can't show the floor, then you got to come back and double up with a vertical and a half bath. Like those are all the little things we build into, because it's not like, hey, photographer, you need to buy an A7S R15. It's like, hey, you just need to step back, hug the door frame to the right, open up to the left until you can see the other door frame, and then make sure that you can see the concaveness of this. Like we go through our training.
Right.
We look at
Right.
that very in depth.
Yeah. So it's not to say that you're not concerned with quality at all. There's still a concern for quality because agents will look at overall quality.
Yeah.
But the focus is on growing the business, right? The effort to step outside your doors, go visit offices, make phone calls. It kind of reminds me. You've talked about this before. The one thing principle.
Gary Keller.
Gary. Yes. Wasn't there another name too?
Yeah, Alex Hermosi says it just somewhat similar.
Okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do. I just listen to I listen to Alex a lot, and I read the Gary Keller book.
Right. Okay. So for the real estate business owner listening right now, what is the one thing, would you say?
Yes, Craig. So Gary Keller asked the question is, what is the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? Let me say it again because I think it's so important. There's a lot to digest in there. What is the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary?
Okay.
Basically, what's the one thing that you can do that is going to take your business the furthest?
So you have a perfect story about this. The first time you set up a broker deal. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so it was our first large broker deal, Craig, and it was in a real city. It wasn't in the cornfield. It was in a big city in Dayton, Ohio, and it was a big name. Hundreds of agents at this brokerage. This was like, oh, crap. Like, this is a big, like, I've worked hard to get to this person. And the meeting was scheduled, and coming up to it, I took the meeting immediately. Okay, so it's not like I knew at this point I couldn't service hundreds of agents.
Okay.
It's not like I told the managing broker, oh, I'm sorry, like I really have to just get this camera figured out, or I need to perfect my systems,
or I got more photographers to hire first.
I got to hire more photographers because it's really just me and a couple part-time people. Like I took the meeting. I was ready for it. I probably had a week, we scheduled probably a week out. And now in the meantime, I started to play the what if game. I was making calls to some people, one in particular, like, hey, like this big thing's going to come through. Like if this closes, I literally need you to quit your job almost instantly. And we've got to focus on this. And luckily for me, that person was on board. I'd set that up and it happened to all fit together nicely. So I laid some groundwork, but I didn't halt the progress. I went in, I had the meeting, and honestly, he helped me. Like we created the perfect broker deal segments in the room. Like I had portions of the broker deal, but he was like a visionary of the industry. And he was like, what would be great if we did this and we did this? And he was like, we're not even going to give them an option to do photos only. I still remember, I'm like, are you serious? Like, okay, great. Like, he's like, no, because I know if we give them an option, they're cheap and they'll do photos only. So they're going to have to do photos and video. He's like, can you like drive in your car and like hang out the sunroof and take video? And I'm like, well, we'll do it a little bit differently, but yeah, we have a suction cup mount. And so he was creative helping me with it. I earned his trust. It was the first meeting I had with him, but I earned his trust by whom I was working with. That's a key point to getting in front of him. I talk about it a lot. Go back and listen to some of our broker deal things. If you're like, how do you get in front of this person, Todd? Go back and listen to those podcasts because that's how I got that trust. But I was all in. And I remember, Craig, there was a point in the conversation that like we were both excited. We were creating. It's like, yeah, this could be awesome. Awesome for me, awesome for you, awesome for the agents. It's a win-win-win, truly. And he looked at me, Craig, and he said, Todd, can you do it? And I'm like,
yeah. So what was the response?
Like 10,000 pounds on your shoulders, right? Like, Craig, I knew I couldn't do this with the cards I had right now. If I was going to stay with where I was at, I couldn't do this. It was hundreds of agents. And still to this day, it's our largest deal. And
okay, so how did that one thing focus principle tie into this? You're earning the business before you even have the infrastructure.
Yeah. Well, there was stupidly and smartly enough, I responded instantly yes. With confidence, right?
Yeah.
And then I got really happy because the meeting was done shortly after that. Shook his hand, hey, we'll follow up. This is what we're going to do. And then I walked out of the office, sun hit my face. It was like, oh. And then you know what happened, Craig? I got really hot really quick because I was like, how am I going to do this now?
Right. The person listening right now or watching, they're thinking, okay, Todd, yeah, this is great, fun story. But yeah, what do I do Monday morning when I'm trying to implement this?
Yeah. I focused on the one thing I needed. Okay. So the one thing I needed to grow my business was to get more business. That was the marketing engine, the broker deal engine that's been so fabulous for us. Okay, my problem at that date and time, that point in time, was not business anymore. My one thing, if I focused on, would move my business along the furthest was I needed more photographers. I needed staff. I needed help. I remember I told you all I had some conversations set up. First call I made, I called my wife, told her it went well. Second call I made was to this individual. I'm like, hey, you need to quit. He's like, boom, I'm going to go do it. I'm going to tell the principal. Like there's 2 or 3 weeks of school left. And I knew that I had that was the thing I focused on. Then he came on and we focused on building the team of what we would need. Also, there was another gap at the time. I needed scheduling software. The software didn't schedule at the time. And I knew there was going to be hundreds of jobs coming in. And I couldn't schedule. People couldn't call me. And I had no clue what the date book was. And I knew there was going to be a lot of photographers. So I went to the developer who I knew. I'm like, hey, Kyle, you got to build this thing for me. He's like, great, let's do it. So, your focus will change a little bit. But the thing that I want to make a point of, Craig, is I didn't change my focus. I wasn't split. This idea of multitasking is a lie. You can't multitask. It's split tasking. It's split focusing. I focused on getting the job. I laid some things up, but it's not like I went and built the scheduler prior to having it. And I was smart about how I set expectations with that broker. We had a build out plan. He didn't expect me to do 100 jobs tomorrow.
Right.
So I set those expectations of when we could launch and when we could do all the agents. But it all was very, very concrete, just direct focus on what needed to be done at that point in time.
Okay, so you're a systems guy. You've talked about that in the past. So this, to me, this is kind of an abstract principle. Okay, yeah, the one idea, the one focus, the one thing, but what's the system you build or the structure? What's something concrete that the person listening right now that's looking to grow their business could put to action, say in the month of August, to help start getting their focus and start making some forward progress, especially in light of recent news we've heard about another particular big company in our industry?
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about that, Craig, but let's talk about, we'll get to the news and teaser. It's about VHT. It's something to talk about, but you need a sales engine. Like, Todd, what do I do? Here's just a very easy plan. What I need you to do is I need you daily to have 5 meaningful 2-minute conversations with a real estate agent. Okay, this can be a current client. This can be new clients. This can be a warm lead. Okay, and you'll get that as you talk to current clients. It's easier to call current clients, right? And then you can ask for the referral. Yes, ask for the referral. If they know, like, and trust you, they will refer you. Worst thing is if you say, hey, do you know anybody else who's looking for the same level of services and quality that we provide you? worst thing they say is like, let me think about it. Or they say no. But if you don't ask, they're not going to say anything. Okay. So 5 meaningful 2-minute conversations. And I only want you to do that. I need you to do 20 a week. Okay. So that's 4 days. I'm giving you Friday off. 4 days.
Very nice of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you. Because, well, I'm sorry. I said it like a you know what, but I do this because I hear from you guys like this is difficult to do. I remember dialing the phone and hanging it up. I remember pulling into the real estate office, sitting there, getting to my left brain and pulling out of the real estate office that I was going to walk into. Okay. I know it's not like something we all gravitate towards. You all are typically an S personality, which means you want to help others, which means you feel bad when you ask others to buy your product or service. So 20 calls a week. If it happens, take Friday off, enjoy. But if you don't get 20 meaningful conversations, then you have to fill up on Friday. If you're at 17, you need to talk to 3 more people. And now just to clarify, like this isn't calls, like meaningful conversations. Okay. So, hey, here's a little cheat code. If you walk into an office or you go to a brokerage event, or if you go to an MLS event, you're probably going to talk to 5 people in the first 10 minutes. Okay. So that you're done for a day. But I think what this will do is this will start your sales engine and build meaningful conversations and get you off the ground.
Right. It's amazing how once you taking that first step is always the hardest thing. It's just like exercise, right? You don't want to drag yourself out of bed in the morning and go take a brisk walk or a run. But once you get that first step done, the momentum builds and you'll start to see a payoff on the effort.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's great because sometimes we need to track our effort and see what it was. You know, the beautiful thing about exercise is you begin to feel it in your body. And I think you'll feel this too because you'll get the feedback and you'll actually call and you'll think the person's going to hate you, but the person really loves you. And you see the output of your energy in. But I think it's important. Let's be strategic let's track it. Our sales team tracks it. Now, don't worry about a CRM. If you're not set up in a CRM, which is a customer relationship management piece of software, just use a spreadsheet. Okay, Google Drive or Excel or whatever, and just have a column of the date you called. The next column would be the client name. I'd probably put their phone number there so you can call them back easier. Maybe the company they're with, and then any notes about the conversation. You know, that note might be like left a voicemail. That might be had a conversation, talking to them about so they refer me to this person. Okay, so just put some notes in there. The last thing is if you're going to follow up with someone, if there's something actionable about it, go to your calendar because you're going to gain information from these conversations. Go to your calendar and put something on your calendar to make sure you follow up with that client.
Yeah,
because there's nothing worse than calling the person, having a great conversation, them needing something from you, and then they never hear from you again.
Right. Yeah. So powerful challenge for the month of August. Mm-hmm. To hammer this home, Todd, let's go ahead and talk about the news that just broke that everybody's talking about online right now with VHT. Mm-hmm. Kind of an opportune time to focus in on this effort and this challenge that Todd has laid out for us.
Oh, it sure is. So if you haven't heard VHT was one of the country's largest media providers to realtors. They announced earlier in the week that they are closing shop very quickly, like in a couple of weeks. Like they're only taking orders for another week or two.
Right.
So and they've been around for over 20 years.
Wow.
And they're huge. And I think they're doing 50 to 75,000 shoots a year. It's just a guess. I might be completely off base, but it's a huge company. So you have thousands of agents across the U.S. scrambling to figure out who is going to provide that media for them. And so you've got a great opportunity. Make calls, ask questions. The agent's going to tell you, oh, this is perfect timing. I used to use VHT and they just closed shop. Gave us no other option. I used them for 5 years, 10 years, whatever it may be. You'll get that information, right? Craig, do you feel like when you talk to agents, are they pretty tight to chest with information, or is it just flow?
I mean, some are cautious. If it's a true cold call and there's no connection made from another realtor that referred you, they can be a little bit. But again, you do it long enough, you build up a tolerance to that, and you understand they're not trying to just be mean to you. It's realtors are busy people, but more often than not, especially if it's an opportune time, yeah, they're gonna talk. Realtors like to talk.
They do.
It's just, you know, so
They like to talk. Yeah.
they do. They listen well too. They do. Let's be fair to realtors. They have to listen. The good ones. Anyway, I'm getting it's a squirrel moment. Squirrel moment.
You're a little political right now, Craig. I feel like that was.
I had a realtor one time ask me, "Have you ever thought about being a realtor?" And I'm wondering if it's because I talk too much to him. Anyway, I did work in radio for a long time, so it's hard to get that out, but no, I think they're looking to improve their business, and if you're providing a solution to a problem they're facing, they're going to talk with you.
Okay, Craig, let's break down the VHT thing real quick. And I want to tie it into why I'm so excited for all of you, and honestly for myself as well, because I think there's great opportunity with real estate media in 2025 and beyond. Okay, VHT, humongous company, owned by a larger company that's owned by a larger and a larger. Okay, there's your nesting boxes. There was nothing, there was no resource, no amount of money. They had everything that potentially could have been needed. Okay. I think homes.com has more money than Zillow. So I want to make a point that all you guys feel limited, like, oh, I have this or I have that, or no, this is a company that have more money than anything, more resources. And I think they were losing like $10 million a year. After 20 years to lose that amount of money, and I think about it, like they didn't even try to sell the book of business, which was really, I'm like, well, wonder why they didn't try to sell the book of business. And who knows, the reason might not ever be told. In my opinion, really doesn't matter. But the point I want to make to all of you is I really think that the VHT, Matterport, those companies, I think they lost focus as to what was really important. I think they got too clever and tried to have this massive payoff. There was some really intelligent brains in a room that thought, we're going to devise this master plan where we're going to leverage these 4 different companies to own the space. But being too clever doesn't work. Our business is simple. I luckily was forced to do it in 2023. I might have been the VHT of 2025 if I wouldn't have focused in 2023. I had a lot of shiny objects. I had a lot of crazy ideas. We were spending time and money on them. The tough year of 23 forced me to focus on what's important. At the end of the day, your client is the most important thing to you. That relationship will return you, them using you, them referring you, which will give you the lifeblood of your business, which is revenue. You can't have a business with negative profit, revenue, negative profit. Okay. If you do 20 million in revenue, I don't know, that's what VHG was doing. If you do 20 million in revenue, but you lose 10 million a year, no matter how much money you have and your parent companies have, you're going to cut it off at some point. Focus on what's important. Please, I'm telling you, it might seem too simple to you and you think you're more sophisticated than 5 meaningful 2-minute conversations 4 days a week. But if we wouldn't have done this at WOW, we might have been the VHT of 2025. We're up 20%, almost 20% year over year, over our best year ever. We came back in 24, a little beat up from 23, and we had our best year ever. And we're beating it by nearly 20% this year. And again, I don't say it to brag, but I say it because I want you to take that path. It's not difficult. A lot of you talk about, oh, it's tough to beat the big people. Like, oh, they did. VHT was doing a 150 for photos. You can't sustain it. It's a race to the bottom. It doesn't work for anybody. Follow the simple path. Have the meaningful conversations, build relationships, do the hard thing, and your business will grow.
The key word that I'm taking away from this, Todd, is meaningful. And when you get too clever and you only focus on massive business growth and numbers, you take the humanity out of business, working with others in the marketplace. And ultimately, the reason we're all doing what we do is we need to take care of ourselves. We need income. Many of us, most of us, I don't know, have families that we love and care about and want to take care of, and we're working hard for them. So is the realtor. So if you can truly serve somebody in a meaningful way and not make it just about the business, and you're just real with people and authentic with people, that's going to go a long way. And taking time to have conversations with people. It's so easy to just shoot a quick text or a quick email, but to have an actual meaningful conversation, that's huge.
Yeah.
So
it almost seems too simple, Craig. I think
it does.
And I'm happy. I'm happy that people overthink it. I really am. I'm happy that people make it more difficult than it has to be, because it just shows that if you simplify it and you do this, you're ahead of your competition. And again, competition means nothing. It really means nothing. And look at the great upper hand you have right now, because that hole in the market exists. So take this opportunity to do it. Just trust me. Please do it.
Yep.
And you'll see your business just go.
So there's the challenge for the month of August. 5x4 method, 5 meaningful conversations, 4 days a week, and see what impact it has on your business. Magic is in that work, not the gear.
Yeah. So, are you serious? Are you serious enough? And I'll end on this, but are you serious enough about your business to have 80 2-minute conversations in the month of August?
There you go. We'd love to hear at the end of August how that month went with taking that challenge. So drop us a line, hello@spiro.media. We'd love hearing from you. Leave a comment on the YouTube channel. We tried our best to keep up with those. We want to hear from you. Todd always makes us share success stories. Makes us. That sounds kind of bad. Makes us share success stories at our staff meeting every Friday morning. And we want to hear your success stories. What went good for you in August? Share that with us. All right.
Yeah.
Todd, thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. Also, we've got a great community, the Spiro Super User Facebook group. Please get in there. You guys are so kind. I see a lot of people like, oh, not Spiro related, but posting this here because I just love this community. Thank you all for making that such a great community. Get in there and let's talk about it. Tell your successes, or maybe you need some accountability. Be like, hey, I only had one this week. Like, okay, well, you can do it. This is something that I found this is what unlocked that for me, or I was struggling with that as well. So let's do it as a community. Don't be on an island. Please don't. Your ego is going to if your ego tells you like, hey, you need to do it yourself, your ego's wrong. Please just get into a community. If it's not that Facebook group, I don't care. I'm not offended by it. Find some community to push you, to hold you accountable.
There you go. All right. That's going to wrap things up this week. Thank you so much for taking time. We know it's a busy summer, so thank you for taking the time to listen or watch. And again, if you have something you want to share with us, ask a question, topic idea, business topic idea, drop us a line, hello@spiro.media. In the meantime, make sure you take time out of your week, not just for those 5 2-minute conversations per day, but take some time to be thankful for the things in your life and make sure you take a breath this week. You have a fantastic week. Take care.
Thank you for joining us for the Spiro Podcast, Managing Your Real Estate Photography and Videography Business. This is a production of Spiro and Wow Video Tours. You can find out more about Spiro's real estate media business management software at our website, spiro.media.